I never thought I'd be the creepy guy in the neighborhood, but apparently, that's exactly what I became. I'm 28, and my work schedule is not normal. I usually don't get home until around 2 or 3 in the morning. It's not something I chose, it's just part of the job. The hours are late, unpredictable, and honestly, they mess with your sense of time after a while. But the real problem isn't the schedule. It's where I live. My neighborhood is one of those places that feels like it's frozen in time. Quiet streets, identical houses, lawns that are always trimmed just a little too perfectly. The kind of place where people notice things, like who comes and goes, what time you leave, what time you get back, and especially anything that doesn't fit the routine. For the first couple of weeks, I didn't think much of it. I'd pull into my driveway late at night, shut off the engine, and walk up to my front door in complete silence. No street noise, no people outside, just me, my footsteps, and the faint sound of my keys. It was peaceful, in a way. Until I started noticing something. At first, it was just a feeling, like I was being watched. You know that weird instinct you get sometimes, where nothing is obviously wrong, but something feels off? Yeah, that. So one night, as I got out of my car, I slowed down a bit and looked around. That's when I saw it. A curtain across the street moved. Just slightly. Barely noticeable if you weren't looking for it. But I saw it. I shrugged it off. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe someone just happened to be awake. But then it happened again. The next night, and the night after that. Every time I got home, right around the same time, that same curtain would twitch, just enough to let me know someone was definitely watching. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't just the guy who worked late. I was the suspicious guy. Think about it. If you're living in a quiet neighborhood where nothing ever happens, and suddenly there's this one guy who shows up at 3 a.m. every single night, yeah, that doesn't look great. I started imagining what people were saying. Who is that guy? Why is he always coming home so late? What does he even do? And once that idea got into my head, I couldn't shake it. Every night felt different after that. What used to be a simple walk from my car to my front door now felt like I was being judged the entire time, like I had to somehow prove I wasn't doing anything wrong, even though I wasn't. It sounds ridiculous, but it didn't feel ridiculous. It felt real. A couple more weeks went by and things didn't improve. If anything, they got worse. I started noticing little signs that people were paying attention. A porch light that turned on right as I pulled in. A shadow moving behind a window. A car slowing down slightly when passing by my house during the day. Maybe I was overthinking it. Actually, I probably was. But once you start thinking like that, it's hard to stop. And then one night, as I was getting out of my car, I looked across the street again, and there it was, the curtain. Twitch. Clear as day. And for some reason, that was the moment I decided I needed to do something about it. Not because anyone had said anything, not because I was in trouble, but because I was tired of feeling like the neighborhood villain in my own life. The solution came to me in the weirdest way possible. It started with my neighbor. He lives a couple of houses down from me. Older guy, quiet, keeps to himself mostly, but always polite when we cross paths. And he has a dog. A golden retriever. The kind of dog that has way too much energy for its own good. Always excited, always ready to go. The complete opposite of my current situation. I'd seen him walking the dog during the day a few times, and it always looked like a bit of a struggle. The dog pulling forward, him trying to keep up. One afternoon, I ran into him outside while he was trying to get the dog back into the house. The dog was clearly not done with the world. That's when the idea hit me. And I'll admit, it was weird. Even in my own head, it sounded weird. But at that point, I didn't care. We started talking, just casually at first. Small talk, weather, neighborhood stuff, nothing important. Then I brought it up. I said, "Hey, this might sound strange, but would you ever be open to letting me take your dog for a short walk late at night?" He looked at me like I'd just asked to borrow his car without knowing how to drive. Late at night? he said. Yeah, I said. Like around 3 a.m. Now he looked even more confused. So I explained. Not everything, but enough. I told him about my schedule, about getting home late, about how I figured it might actually help his dog burn off some extra energy. I left out the whole "I don't want to look like a creep" part. He thought about it for a second. Then he laughed. Honestly, he said, that dog would probably love that. And just like that, the deal started forming. We worked it out pretty quickly. For $20 a week, I'd take his dog for a 15-minute walk every night when I got home. Simple. No contracts, no formal agreement, just a handshake and a mutual understanding. And just like that, everything changed. At first, I thought the whole idea was ridiculous. Me paying a neighbor to walk his dog at 3 in the morning just so I don't look suspicious walking alone? It sounded like something you joke about, not actually do. But the more I sat with it, the more it made sense in a weird way. It wasn't really about the dog. It was about how I was being seen. So a couple days later, I brought it up properly with my neighbor again. Same guy with a golden retriever. This time, I was more direct about it. I told him my situation, late nights, quiet street, people watching more than I was comfortable with. I didn't make it dramatic, I just explained it honestly. He listened, nodded a few times, then looked over at his dog, who was already acting like he had too much energy for one body. "You know what?" he said. "That might actually work." I blinked. "Seriously?" He shrugged. "He needs more walks anyway, and honestly, I'm not getting up at 3 a.m. for it." Fair enough. That's how it became official. $20 a week, 15-minute walk, every night I got home. No paperwork, no contract, just a simple agreement between two people who found a weird solution to a small problem. Still, I remember walking away from that conversation thinking, this is either genius or completely unhinged. Turns out, it was kind of both. The first night we tried it, I didn't know what to expect. I pulled into my driveway like usual, but this time I wasn't alone. As soon as I shut off my car, I saw movement across the street. The curtain. It didn't just twitch this time, it moved fast, like someone was actively watching for me. And right as I stepped out of my car, my neighbor opened his front door. The golden retriever came flying out like it had been waiting all day for this exact moment. Tail going crazy, leash already attached, zero hesitation. My neighbor gave me a thumbs up from his porch. "You're good," he called quietly. And just like that, I was no longer the guy sneaking home late at night, I was the guy walking a dog at 3 a.m., which somehow looked a lot better. We started doing it every night. Same routine. I'd get home late, pull into the driveway, and within a minute, the dog would be out the door, practically dragging me down the street with excitement. At first, it felt awkward. Walking a big golden retriever in the middle of the night while everything else in the neighborhood was dead quiet is a strange experience. No cars, no people, just streetlights and the sound of paws hitting the pavement. But something changed after a few nights. I stopped feeling watched. Or at least, I stopped caring if I was. Because now, instead of a guy walking alone in the dark, I was just a guy walking a dog. And people understand that. A man walking a dog at night? Normal. A man walking alone at night? Suspicious. It's funny how much perception changes everything. Within a week or two, I started noticing the difference. The curtains across the street still moved sometimes, but not in the same way, not as sharply, not as suspicious. And more importantly, I stopped feeling like I had to rush from my car to my door like I was doing something wrong. Now I had a reason to be outside. A legitimate one. A dog who treated 3 a.m. like it was the most exciting part of his day. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. That dog loved it. He'd run ahead, stop, sniff everything, try to chase invisible things in the bushes. Meanwhile, I'd just follow along, half awake, thinking about how ridiculous my life had become, but also how weirdly peaceful it was. No pressure, no judgment. Just a quiet walk before bed. The funniest part was how quickly people started reacting differently. I didn't talk to most of my neighbors much before this, just polite nods, small greetings, that kind of thing. But suddenly, things shifted. One morning, I saw one of them while taking out the trash, and she said, "You're really dedicated, huh?" I had no idea what she meant at first. Then she added, "Walking the dog that late every night, that's sweet." I just nodded like it was normal. "Yeah, he needs it." And that was it. No suspicion, no awkward questions, just approval. That's when I realized something kind of wild. I hadn't changed anything about my actual life. Same job, same hours, same routine. But now I was seen completely differently. All because of a dog and a $20 arrangement. After a few weeks, the whole thing stopped feeling like a fix and started feeling like normal life. I'd come home late, park the car, and within seconds the routine would kick in. The door across the street would open, the golden retriever would burst out like it had been waiting all day, and I'd grab the leash without even thinking about it anymore. It became automatic. What surprised me most wasn't the dog, it was how fast the neighborhood opinion shifted. At first, I was that guy who comes home late. Now I was that nice young man who helps with the dog at night. Same person, same hours, same house. Completely different story in everyone's head. I didn't even find out how big the change was until one evening when I got added to the neighborhood group chat. I didn't ask to be in it. Someone just added me. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Then I started reading the messages, and I almost laughed out loud. It went from random small talk and local complaints to things like, "Does anyone know who walks that dog late at night? Very responsible young man." And, "Honestly, it's nice knowing someone is out there looking after Mr. H's dog." And then the final one that made me put my phone down for a second. God bless that young man's soul, always helping out. I just sat there thinking, if only they knew how this started. Because in their minds, I had become some kind of quiet neighborhood helper, a responsible, caring guy who went out of his way for an elderly neighbor and his energetic dog. In reality, I was just trying not to look like a suspicious character at 3 a.m. But I'll admit, I didn't correct anyone, not even once. The dog, though, he fully embraced his new lifestyle. He started waiting for me, not just casually, like actively waiting. My neighbor told me one day that around 2:50 a.m., the dog would start getting restless, sitting by the door, whining, wagging his tail like he knew something was about to happen. And sure enough, every night, right around 3 a.m., I'd pull into the driveway, and there he was, already ready. My neighbor actually found it funny at first. Then it started confusing him. One night, I heard him say, "How does he know?" And I laughed because I didn't know what to tell him. It wasn't magic. It was routine. Dogs are basically walking clocks once they lock onto a pattern. But to him, it felt like something else. He started joking that the dog had developed night vision instincts or could somehow sense my car from miles away. His wife even got in on it. She started calling the dog psychic, saying things like, "He knows when his favorite person is coming." I never corrected that either. Honestly, I kind of liked it. But the best part wasn't the reputation or the jokes or even the dog itself. It was the peace. That strange middle ground where I no longer felt judged walking into my own home. No more rushing, no more overthinking every step, no more imagining curtains moving or people whispering about me. Just me, a leash, and a dog who thought every night was the best part of his life. It turned something stressful into something simple. And over time, I realized something kind of funny. I didn't actually change the neighborhood. I just gave it a story it could understand. People weren't reacting to reality. They were reacting to a narrative. And mine just happened to look a lot better with a dog in it. The deal stayed in place for a long time. $20 a week, 15 minutes a night. That was it. No drama, no complications. Just a weird little system that solved a weird little problem. Sometimes I think about how fragile reputation really is. One guy walking alone at night, suspicious. Same guy walking a dog, hero. Nothing else changed. Just the story people told themselves. And me, I eventually stopped thinking about it so much. It just became part of my life. Work late, come home, walk the dog, go inside, sleep. Simple. Quiet. Normal even. And every once in a while, I'd catch a curtain moving across the street, Not fast anymore, not suspicious, just there. And I'd smile a little to myself, because I wasn't the guy people were watching anymore. I was just the guy walking the dog, and somehow that was enough.